Caltrop is an area denial weapon designed to stop the enemy. The Caltrop is a sturdy, simple, yet effective weapon no matter its position. Its purpose was originally designed to stop elephant and donkey attacks. It graduated to stopping tanks. And now, the Caltrop is your defense against propaganda, polished lies, and manufactured outrage. It's free from counterfeit credibility and synthetic truth. However, inside the walls of the Caltrop, you're going to be forced to think. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop.
Coming down the mountain from the heaven to the hell, the Mike Calderese, the Caltrop, he never stops, so ring the bell. He bring the facts, he's been up every morning till we sleep. He get it deep, Mike Calderese, in your head and in your sheets. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop.
Good evening and welcome to the Caltrop. As you can hear, I'm kind of getting over my sore throat. I have my hot tea here with me, right next to me. But welcome everybody to the Caltrop. This one's going to be a banger. This one's going to be a banger. And I got to start off like this, guys. You know, I am the Caltrop. And you know what the Caltrop means? The Caltrop is your defense mechanism from things that nobody wants to talk about, from things that nobody wants to touch. Stories that are right there for everybody, for the actual so-called media. And nobody asks the questions. And if they do ever ask the questions, it's kind of like glossed over and then never to be talked about again. And I got to tell you something. You know, ever since I posted the thumbnail to, the world, I guess you could say. And, listen, I've been thinking about how I was going to do this episode and present this material to you guys for a while. Because, listen, there's things that I'm going to say that there's things that I'm not really going to divulge right now. This is going to be the first edition of this, okay? Because I think there's so much here that it's ridiculous. But the overall theme that I have been getting is, you better up your life insurance. You are straight going to die. You're going to be killed. The topics that I take up, I don't think should get me killed. But I'm getting messages from my mom. I'm getting messages from people, friends, people that are just following the page. Thank you, by the way. Remember, finger the fuck out of that like button early and often. But you guys are reaching out to me, genuinely concerned about my life, and I'm genuinely thanking you for that. And I am sorry if I'm congested and I'm going to be like snorting in the whole 9 yards. I apologize. But I got to say, the things that I'm taking up and the things that I talk about are public information. This is public info. It's out there for every single person to see and ask questions, and nobody does. And if it's going to cost me anything, it's already like, I'm going to say this right before everything I get out, period. Let me just give you a quick disclaimer. I'm wearing the blue shirt, if you can see it. I don't not like cops. I think we need them. I don't think we need them in the amount that we need them. That says something to our society. We're going to be talking about that. I respect the job they do. I respect everything about being a cop. But I do think their pay is outrageous. It's funny because Patterson's going, "Oh, you're on the defund the police tour." Well, when you see what they make base and then the potential to make it all the other extras, I think it's gotten away from it because, the thing that I want to hit home on And everybody wonders, why do we pay so much in taxes? Why do we pay this and why do we pay that? Oh, it's taxes go up, 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 up. And we really don't know why. We complain. Nobody really talks about it. And nobody gives you the real reasons why your taxes go up. And the main driver of it locally is payroll, is police. And I got to ask everybody to keep this in mind when I'm doing this. This isn't an attack on cops. Maybe it is. But this is going to be an attack on all of us. This is going to be an attack on you, the regular citizen. That's going to be an attack on the people that are running it. The amount of money that we're just shelling out, the amount of money that could be stolen, the amount of money that is being manipulated in every town around. These aren't little numbers. These are millions and millions and millions of dollars. And there's topics where you can't talk about it or your life's going to be in jeopardy. When you're giving me the information, you're giving it to me. But I have people that are afraid for me right now. And I don't think what I'm going to be talking about is anything crazy. You saw the headline. How to become a millionaire in 3 years, Lakewood math. Tell me a job. Tell me how many jobs out there, especially in the government, you should be able to work 3 years and net over $1 million. Okay, it's a little too hot. Let's put that over here for right now. And net over $1 million. So listen, I've led up to this enough. Oh, one more thing. This is an indictment against any individual, okay? Even though there's going to be somebody that's singled out here, and I'm not going to call out names because that's not what I do. If you want to look this up, I will post this stuff online, and you can look it up for yourself, okay? But I'm not going to be calling out names, but there's going to be individuals that are pointed out that are making this kind of money. But without further ado, let's get right to the show with the Mike's Right Chump. Listen. All right, quick little monologue, little joke. Why didn't I become a cop? If I knew earlier, I would have. Have you ever had one of those moments? Like you're looking at a spreadsheet and your entire life flashes before your eyes. And I'm sitting here going through the Lakewood police payroll, and I just kept asking myself one question. Why the hell didn't I become a cop? Not because I don't respect the job, not because I don't respect law enforcement, because apparently I don't respect money enough. Because had I known the secret to becoming a millionaire in 3 years was to be a cop and don't go home, I would have signed up like it was Amazon Prime. See, growing up, they lied to us. They said, study hard, go to college, start a business, work your way up. Nobody ever said, hey, try becoming a cop, getting all the overtime you ever want, and just answer the overtime phone. One Lakewood police officer made over $1 million in 3 years. $1 million. That's not a public servant. That's a municipal investment portfolio. That's not a badge. That's a 401k. It's 401k with sirens. Police work used to be a living with benefits. Now it's benefits on top of high pay with all the overtime you could have. Let's put that number in perspective. This guy made $386,000 in 1 year. $386,000. Do you know who does not make $386,000 in a year? The President of the United States, the leader of the free world, is $400,000 about. That includes, he has nuclear codes. Apparently, the most powerful man on earth needs a side hustle to keep up with Lakewood. You know who else doesn't make that? Most brain surgeons, most corporate lawyers, most CEOs, most airline pilots, most engineers, most tech executives, most federal judges. But somewhere in Lakewood, there's guys who are like, yeah, man, I'll take double overtime on Christmas. That's awesome. But that's private jet money almost. We're out here told, don't chase money, do what you love. Meanwhile, real American dream was clock in, Don't clock out. Pension forever. I mean, this isn't an emergency fund either. This isn't a one-off. What we're going to go over in a second is going to show you that this is structural overtime. Why do you pay so much in taxes? Because of these structural problems. This is built with the department around overtime. They budget for it, they depend on it, and they worship it. It's not extra. It's the business model. And when you operate like this in real business, you can't. You will be out of business. But the best part is you don't just make this money once. No, in New Jersey, overtime doesn't disappear. It's always there. It becomes part of it. And then it's the pension magic. That $386,000 a year, that's not a flex. That's a retirement strategy. Wall Street guys are like, hey, what's your long-term plan? And he's like, I don't know, work holidays and weekends. So yeah, I'm sitting here like an idiot. I picked entrepreneurship. I picked risk. I picked stress and uncertainty. It's freezing out right now. I'm not working. When I could have picked overtime, double time, comp time, off-duty pay, pension inflation, and the same stress, better benefits. And before anyone says, don't attack the cops, I'm not. I'm asking you a very simple question. Why is the President of the United States making less than a local payroll legend? That's not anti-cop. That's kind of anti-math. So kids, if you're watching this thinking about your future, forget college, forget crypto, forget shipping. Just learn how to say, yeah, I could stay late. Because apparently, that's how you become a millionaire. And apparently, I really messed up. That's Mike's right. We're going to get to all the rest in a second. All right, so let's deep into this because this drove me outside of my mind. So I'm going to give you a full background about this now that we're done with the fun part, now that we're done with all the pleasantries, okay? Let's add this to the stage. This is basically the chart that I have been looking at for the longest time, okay? Now, what you're going to see here is you're going to see 4 different pages, okay? See 4 different pages of Freedom of Information requests on what the actual salaries are of some of these guys, okay? Now, let me do this for a second. I'm not going at the individuals. I don't blame individuals for making all that they could possibly make. This is going to be an indictment on a system that takes your money and just wastes it and just destroys it. And you don't know if there's corruption. You don't know what's really behind it because there's so many dollars involved. But when you see what I'm about to see or what I've been looking at, it screams so many questions, especially why do we have such an unequal distribution of government funds in a Democrat-ran state? So let's get back to this page because this is what was driving me crazy. Okay. So full screen layout here. Let's get to this file. This is, again, Freedom of Information request. So let's start over here. You're going to see, hopefully, this light up. Maybe it'll light up. See that? Can you see that? I'm going back and forth here for a second to see if it's going to work. Top right-hand corner, if you look, the pays are amazing, right? 215, 248,000, 224,000, 303,000. Now, if you take this line here, I want to highlight something for everybody right here. Like, take this first line. I'm not going to tell you who this is. I'm not going to say any of those things, but let's just dissect this line. Emergency off time, $25,270. Off-duty time amount, $45,000. Overtime amount, $77,000. So the salary is $152,000. But the total that this gentleman was paid or this officer was paid was $303,000. $303,000 from 152 to 303. Now let's go through a couple things just so you guys understand them, okay? What is emergency off time? If there's an emergency and you're off and you get called in, you get paid for that time. I have no problem with that. It's the numbers that I have a problem with. Your off-duty amount, what are the off-duty amounts? The off-duty amounts are the amounts that basically you have road work. Okay. So there's road work and then there's overtime. So what I'm understanding is if you are a younger officer, you're going to want to do more off-duty time because the pay rate from the contractors that's contracting the police to do the work for them, that's higher than what your what your time and a half salary would be. Okay. If you're an older senior, police officer, you tend to do more overtime work because your overtime pay is more than the road work pay. Are you guys with me? Because I'm trying to fill you guys in on everything that I'm learning here. So then you have your overtime amount. Obviously, that's the amount, and this is your pay. So let's go to a couple more of these guys. So 303,000. I'm going to show you one of the most egregious, but if you just keep coming down here with me, if you notice, you're going to start seeing a trend that you're going to have about 25 to 30 of just overtime pay, 21,000, 31,000. But I want you to notice certain things. Certain people have not much, 996. One guy has, nothing. That's 162. They go up and down. It doesn't seem like it's a very equal distribution, but 45,000, 24,000, 20, 20, 23, 12, 31. These are numbers that are just gigantic numbers of overtime. Okay. Now this is another one that is it just leaps off of the screen here. Okay. Let's do this. This just leaps off of the screen. This is the guy that I've been talking about the entire time here. Okay. So we have a situation where, look, guys, we have $153,000 base salary with $190,000 worth of overtime for $386,000 worth of pay. This particular gentleman, the last 3 years that I was able to get, got 386, 312, and 309 for just over $1 million in 3 years of pay. $1 million. Now, when you look at all these things, and when I'm going through this, I don't want this to be an indictment on the officers. What I want to ask the questions are, why does it seem like one or two people are able to make all of the money? Now, let's just put it like this. I get it that there are, in any group, if you take 10 officers, there's going to be one officer that wants to work every chance they can get. There's going to be one officer that doesn't want to make it, work ever besides what they got. And there's going to be 8 in the middle there. Okay. But we also understand is truck drivers, they can't drive for so long without being forced to stop because they get way less effective at their job and they're driving weight and their job is very important. They're not making $300,000 a year and they get forced to stop. So you have a situation where you have officers working 60, 70, 80 hours, making overtime, and everyone's wondering, why am I taxed so much? Why am I taxed so much? Well, because you have police officers that are legit. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Let me add this to the stage again. That are legit making $386,000, 188, 128. These numbers, 222, 211, 186, 190. 199. These numbers skyrocket, and they've been skyrocketing. And it's all coming out of a gigantic slush fund where year after year after year, just like they did in Brick, they just get more and more and more money. Brick was somehow advertising that we saved $2.2 million over the last 2 years, but we're asking for like $5 million more. Well, you just say, what happened to that $2 million? Oh, it just gets spent. But we want to know why we're getting taxed so much. We want Doge to come in here and find this stuff. This is the stuff that ran Doge off. That's much more manageable now. But this is the stuff that ran Doge off. And let me go through this because we had a little bit of a breakdown, and we're going to go through the individual officers in a second, but we're going to go, sorry, I hit that a little bit too early, but the systemic problem of this gets deeper because this is what you have here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 officers, and I'm going to say 4 officers because one officer I know spent a lot of comp time. And in full disclosure, the officer that got a lot of the comp time probably did so to pay for his backyard because I did his backyard. So I'm not a liar. I will tell you guys that I have benefited from this stuff. And there's a very good chance that I'm not going to be able to drive in Lakewood, and I will never get another job from a Lakewood cop for bringing you this information. But if you spent comp time, which I get to turn in that, which I get it, that's your unused time. You didn't use your vacation or any of that stuff. You wanted to work, you get to cash it in, great. So one of them on this list are over that mark simply because they did that. But let's look at this again. So this guy at the very top of this list, $303,000, okay? This means he had an average overtime of 26 hours, 66 hours worked. Now just go through it, right? 59 hours worked. This guy worked an average of 80 hours per week. That's 2 shifts. Why aren't we hiring another guy? If we have this much overtime, if we have this much traffic duty, why don't we have specials that aren't making this much money to do these shifts? I'm sorry, guys. You know, when you're making $182,000 a year, or 150 or 130 or 140, this is a lot of money. And you have the ability to not just double your income, but triple it. This is egregious misuse of government funds. And the real troubling part about this entire thing, if I put names to this, certain names make more money. Like the chief and his son, they make a lot of money. Okay, I'm just going to toss that out there. Over 300,000. And what's very interesting is you have 4 of the same name, you have 3 of the same name. It seems like there's families. It seems like this is a family just put my friends in, give whoever we have liked all of the money, all of the overtime. The overtime's controlled, from what I understand, from one of the wives of the people making all this money. So how does this work? You know, Brick, New Jersey has a system, I guess we just put in, from what I'm understanding, where it goes through an outside agency, but it does go through seniority. And yes, of course, more people say yes. But why are we wasting this much money? And it goes to tell you guys, it's like $35 million they need to spend on their cops. And this is when I go through all of this stuff and the $35 million, and you have these guys, 58, 60, 71 hours, 62, 79 hours, 68 hours. You have all of this overtime in business. You have to limit overtime because that's where your costs are. Your labor is your costs. So when we have this just incredible amount of millions that these guys know, hey, we have to use, let's give out. Who's willing to have it? Oh, you're willing to go here and stand there for $100 an hour? Of course. But they don't open up any of these jobs to any other government employees. How difficult is it, just for a couple of random thoughts, how difficult is it to get a traffic safety team that's like specials that could do a lot of the road work? And then you charge the construction guys more money. You create more jobs. You charge the construction guys the same money, but you pay less in labor. Now the town actually makes something on that labor. And now we have a team of people that just serve the contracts. And now the cops can focus on being cops. Because I thought that's what we're paying them for. I didn't think we were paying cops to sit in cars and do traffic duty for special groups of people in a special town. And the average rate of this is $180-something thousand. These guys are walking with 30, 40, 50,000. The average is 25 to 45, like right in there, of overtime, just overtime. But let's talk about something, because this is the things, like when I start looking at this stuff, that you guys don't understand that you're paying for it. Everybody in Brick, everybody in the neighboring towns, the way our system works, you're paying for it. You spend so much money, you don't get it back. And you wonder where the taxes are going. It's going to all of this absolute garbage. Sorry, my throat. I gotta wash it down. So let's just do this. Let's go through these very fast. You ready? Lakewood's poverty level, according to the Census Bureau in 2023, was 24.8. Okay. Some people have it as high as 39.2. The Census Report Smart Asset Study in 2024 had it around 20, had about 40. Let's just say your poverty level is 30%. Okay. Because this is what's going to be, this is the thing that drives me crazy about this entire police department and everything that goes on with Lakewood, because you have millions and millions being poured into this with no accountability, with overtime scams that only 4 people, you just saw 4 people are able to take advantage of. How many jobs? It's millions of dollars. That's millions of jobs. Millions of dollars. That's many jobs that we could create, but we're not. We're giving it to a select group of people, whoever's in the Chiefs clique. And I'll say it, allegedly. But this is their poverty rate. Again, 40%. You're hearing 25 to 40% poverty rate in Lakewood, New Jersey. And now this is the real disgusting part about this. Lakewood schools, okay? The Lakewood School District owes the state of New Jersey $252 million. That means they don't owe the state of New Jersey that money. They owe you, every single one of you that are watching this, they owe you $252 million. But they have $6 to $8 million in overtime and road work and all this extra. Meanwhile, the schools are going out. Now, the schools in Lakewood are majority private school, which you're going to have to help me understand this, how a town that's 40% poverty stricken is able to send all their kids to private school and not public. Go, however you could wrap your brain around that. Let's deal with that. But let's do this really fast so you can understand it. Lakewood has 5,000 to 6,000 school children go to public schools. That means 80 to 85% of Lakewood kids go to private school. 40% poverty rate, 85% kids go to private school. And the school's $252 million in debt. And not only that, this is the Lakewood budget from last year. And hold on, let me take this banner off for a second, the ticker, hide for a second. If you see at the very bottom of the screen, their outstanding balance, see the balance of outstanding debt? Interest, $20 million in interest. Principal, $95 million in principal. And outstanding balance, $115 million. That's for the municipal. That's for municipals. Okay? So you're talking about a town that gets $50 to $60 million in your taxpayer money, in your state aid. While Brick, your kids just lost $25 million over the last how many years? 5 years for their schools. Toms River lost millions. Jackson lost millions. Ocean County alone lost millions. But a town that has a 40% poverty rate, a town that's able to pay their cops $200,000-$300,000 a year, doesn't have money for the 6,000 kids that are going to school there. We have millions in overtime. We have millions in extra pay. But we don't have proper busing for kids to go to school. And sorry, only one group of kids gets proper busing to go to that school. And that's the fact if you know this area. This is the problem. And I'm going to tell you another caveat. A lot of you guys know this. It's a majority religious town for a lot of you guys that don't know this. It's 90% one religion lives there. One controls everything. And just to put a stamp on this, in a historic move, New Jersey petitions to take over the troubled school. Okay, so now New Jersey, after more than a decade of warnings and court rulings, The State Department of Education Wednesday said it filed an order to show cause, starting the process for a state takeover of Lakewood after years of academic and financial failure. If approved, the Board of Education will take over. It said for all the most impacted, most especially the students of Lakewood, we are obligated to intervene in this situation and provide the district with necessary oversight. This is a show. You want to know why? Because the amount of corruption that's going on in Lakewood and the amount of fraud and the amount of, let's just say waste. You want to say waste, fraud, and abuse, however you want to put it. I call it organized crime. Because I see this as straight up organized crime. But none of you want to listen long enough to understand these principles and understand where your money is going. Everyone wants to sit behind tropes of, oh, we support police. Oh, I wear my blue line shirt. I support police too, but how much more support do they need? The average citizen in Lakewood makes $60,000 a year. The average citizen makes $60,000 a year. That's what? 13, 14 years to make $1 million? 13 to 14 years to make $1 million. And we have officers of the law doing it in 3. And listen, and there's other things that I've heard, sexual harassment claims that are going on that are going unanswered about this place. These are things I can't talk about because they're not out there. Claims haven't been made. Everyone's afraid to talk. Everyone's afraid to speak up. Everyone's afraid to put this out there. Everyone's afraid for me. When all I did was go through this. This is all I did was go through all of these. Again, when you look at the overtime amount, 35,000, 190, 18, 19, 22, 29, 32, 51, 28, 151, 128. I mean, it's you go through these numbers, 37, 41, 29, 25. It's just that's just one column. Let's go back up the other way, right? 47, 41, 36. This is a situation where you have people that are making $60,000 a year paying for the salaries of people making 4, 5, 6, 7 times more than they make doing a public service job. And we wonder where our money's going. And now I have one more thing to really hammer on this. Because I was looking at this sheet like this. Okay. That guy's always staying with us. But there's one more thing I want to say about this. Why Bricktown, Ocean County, Lakewood, all of our areas, why are we so horrible at policing ourselves that we need to spend millions of dollars policing ourselves? We wonder why we're taxed so much. It's us. Police volume is up. The way you people are driving on the roads is worse. Your attitudes, everything is worse. And every time you get worse in your life, we need another damn cop that's making $180,000. And that's just their pay. You forget something, man. When you hire a cop, that's the pay plus the benefits, plus the pension afterwards. There are so many things. Plus, they all get a $1,600 what's it called? Wardrobe fee or whatever the hell. You make $280,000 a year. I think you afford your own fucking clothes. But we've allowed everybody in the name of we love the cops to get completely out of hand. That pay has gotten completely out of hand. And if there's that much work, you need to hire more officers. That is very simple, because no one's ever going to be able to tell me that overtime is the way to govern. And not just overtime for you, and you. Well, I don't like you. You don't get the overtime. Because you know that's what's going on. And if you ask me, in Lakewood, you hear stories about cops picking people up from the airport. Bringing it back, what are cops picking people up from the airport for? Getting overtime pay. You hear stories like this over and over. You have community relations people. They're at the Blue Claws all the time. Every game. Minor league baseball. There's fucking 13 cops out there with a dog. It's minor league baseball in Lakewood, New Jersey that's guarded, better than the president was in Butler, Pennsylvania. Drones and everything flying. I don't understand the concepts. And when I look at this over and over and over, guys, when I see lists like this of this dude's pulling 80 hours a week, every single week for the last how many years it's been going on? When I see 4 of the same names, 5 of the same names, the chief's son's name making over $300,000, I think that was the, let me see, 180 to 300. Where was it? 328, 173 to 328. I think that was the one. When I see these things, guys, and you hear, I'm broke as a town, and we have to pay more in taxes because of it. As we lose services, as we lose everything that we pay for, while the money in the millions gets funneled to these departments that nobody wants to ask about. And I want to know, quite frankly, and I think every one of you guys should know, I think everybody in Lakewood should want to know this. What is going on that one officer made $386,000, made $1 million? And I bet if I go back to when that chief got in 2016, I bet we're going to watch that dude's salary spike. I would put money on it. Who wants to take that up? I need help. So when you finger that like button, if you're watching this, look into this stuff. Look into it in your own town. Take a look at what the police make in your own town versus the DPW guys or the women that work in the office or all this stuff. In this state, we have an unequal distribution of government funds. And we're handing out money in the millions. And when you do that, there's going to be people stealing money in the millions. And it's not necessarily stealing, but it is theft, if you ask me. Because if you're in a situation where you have all this money and you have to give it out, or you might lose it because that's how government works, give it out. We have to spend it all so we can ask for more next year and more next year and more next year. Well, you know what happens? Your politicians play you and they blame it on everybody else. Well, they're the ones that handed all these guys these inflated salaries. If you knew how much your town cost just in salaries, it would blow your mind. So that was all freedom of information. The question is, why is nobody asking that? Why are nobody asking the questions? Why is nobody saying, hey, why did only 4 people make this? What type of system do we have in place to where you have an equal distribution of this in a communist state of New Jersey? Now, if you're going to call yourselves the Democratic Party and you're going to claim that me in private business has to work a certain way, why aren't you doing that in your own state government? Why are some jobs valued more than the other? Why are cops able to make more than presidents, more than governors? These are questions to where if we actually want to get serious about our budget, if we want to get serious about the taxes and going at some of the problems that we really have town to town and the waste and the fraud, you got to attack these things at their source, at their head. Because I got to tell you guys, man, I'm getting sick and tired of getting beaten with taxes, getting beaten over the head with why I should fund certain groups of people and why we need more money for this and why we need more money for that. And it's always more. And you never tell me why. You know, there's when you really analyze what happened in Lakewood, the sheer amount of people making over 200 grand, 300,000 is alarming. And we've let it get completely out of control. Now, I would love it if anybody wants to come forward and corroborate some of the allegations of corruption that are going on in that department. I would love it if anybody would like to come forward and corroborate the allegations of sexual harassment. I would love it if somebody would like to come forward and tell me if the Hatstola, which is the volunteer police and ambulance service, why they're able to fill up with our gas pumps and all the corruption that goes on there. I want to know what type of illegal activity is going on to where money is funneled into 4 different people. Because it looks bad. At worst, this is incompetence. You know, at best, it is incompetence. I don't know what to say. I mean, at worst, it is sheer just disgusting corruption. But at best, it's sheer incompetence. And we all sit there and wonder, and we all want to bitch about Minnesota and all these other places that aren't in your hometown. Why are they crying about Minnesota? Why is it always fucking Minnesota? I'm worried about my area locally, and you should be worried about your area locally. Because I guarantee you, you look into your police department, you're going to see something. You look into your government, you're going to see a lot. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. One last look at this. This is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, 249, 217, 200, 200. I mean, look at it, 180. I mean, 238, 226, 204, 208. I mean, 206. It's these numbers, 269, 253. These numbers are ridiculous. They're just absolutely absurd. And that's all. That's like Forrest Gump would say, I guess. That's all I have to say about that. Now, if you're a Lakewood police officer and you have something that, if you think I said anything wrong, please get in touch with me at Mike C at centercutmedia.com. I will correct anything that you think I got wrong. But I guarantee I didn't get anything wrong because I just read off of your list. These are your numbers. So the question, I mean, you have to beg the question. And, you have to beg the question. Why does it seem like you're living off of overtime? And how is that a smart way to take care of taxpayer dollars? And, you know, how the fuck can you claim poverty? How can you claim poverty? How can't you fund your schools? How can't you fund the 5,000 to 6,000 kids that you have in there? With the millions that you're shelling out in overtime, with the mismanagement that you're shelling out. And they want to take over the school? That whole town needs to be investigated. Every single part of Lakewood, New Jersey needs to be completely investigated. But I'm going to tell you why they won't do it. Because they're a Jewish fucking community. And when you have all these grandstanders like Comer in Congress saying, "Oh, we bring your corruption, bring your fraud, bring your stuff to us," they don't mean that community, and we know that. And again, you know, I don't fault the people for taking advantage of a system that's designed to be taken advantage of. But to recap, one officer made $1 million in 3 years, while the schools are $252 million in debt, while the average citizen makes $60,000 a year, while there's up to potentially 40% poverty rate. The neighboring towns are 6%, 7%, 8%, and like 6.2%. 40% top poverty rate, but out of the people that make up that 40% top poverty rate, every single one of them are able to send their kids to private schools. If anything, let's ask the Jewish community how they pull this off. Because clearly, New Jersey, you can't fund your own schools, but they could fund their schools with a town that has a 40% poverty rate in almost all of their children in private school. How does this make sense? Well, we have an unlimited overtime slush fund for fucking overtime for the police department. How does any of this make sense? But nothing's going to happen. You won't have the state. You won't have anybody. Oh, we're going to take over the schools. Are you going to investigate and arrest the people that did this? No, you're not. Just like there's not one person going to be arrested in Minnesota besides a couple low-level Somalians. So they can point to every Somalian and say, look, you're a piece of shit. I don't know. This stuff just, it completely drives me out of my mind. I feel like Trump. Yep, there you go. I feel like Trump. Fuck you people. Look at that. I'm spilling all over myself. Spilling all over myself like a bum. Look at it. There you go. It's almost by the nipple. Almost by the nipple. But it's not. But let me tell you something, guys. Wow, I fucking just ripped for an hour on that. I did not want to go that long. Sorry. I am long-winded. I am definitely long-winded. We have a whole shitload of YouTube comments. Let's check these ones out. I'm not used to these guys. Hey, I thought about that the other day. Hold on. Let's show this one. Ready? I thought about that the other day, and I was like, Mike's got to get a little something to protect himself. Yeah, man. I got to get something to protect myself. Oh, my God. You got to love it. A man is like, oh, my God, 386,000. How do I do it? How do I do it? Can we do this at Tom's River? Because now I want to know. Yes, honestly, I am in the process of finding Tom's Rivers too, man. Jerry Cal G8 says, wow, I wish when I was in law enforcement I got paid like that. You wish, right? Now I happen to know this person that's commenting right now, and I know for a fact that Chris Christie screwed him out of a Chiefs position, and this guy was running a full prison, multiple ones. And he was not making anywhere near, what was it, $286,000? No, sorry. 300. You lose your hundreds. $386,000. And they have private security at all their schools. Yes, and they have private security at all of their schools. How about that, guys? How about that? I'll check the Facebook messages right now. Actually, let's check Rumble. Let's see what's Rumble. I have been neglecting you. I didn't even realize that I was going for that long. Sometimes when you get ripping into this stuff, you just rip. So we have a bunch of people watching, man. This has been a big show. I really appreciate everybody here. Remember, hey, go ahead and finger that like button and share this if you can. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have all these guys. But Myra says, I don't know if I use regular police in Lakewood. They often use private police, and I thought they weren't paid by the town. The private police they claim that it is a volunteer service and they work off of donations, but somehow they are paid through grants and through funds. Like, for example, the Hatch-Tola is Lakewood's like ambulance service, but there's a couple different versions of it, right? There's competing ones. So right now the new Hatch-Tola is applying for some of the gas money because we do supply them with gas because the claim is that they respond to every call, even people that are non-Jewish, right? But the fact is, yes, somehow Lakewood's able to have a police force, a separate volunteer police force, an ambulance service, and a separate volunteer ambulance service that is just for the one community. Yes, it makes a lot of sense. Don't understand how that works. So why are we paying for it? During COVID, when things were shut down, Lakewood was having regular police for security at their weddings. So, and that's another thing. Lakewood's a town that their schools never closed. They told Murphy to go fuck themselves. They basically nothing closed down. Buses were still running just for them. Our kids were home, and their kids were still going to school 100%. Justin Dell says, how can so many people make 2 to 3 times their salary and it doesn't get looked into by anyone. That's the question for everybody, bud. That's the question for everybody. It's not just 2 to 3 times your salary. How can it be to where just your extra pay is potentially close to what people averagely make as a citizen taxpayer? It's not just that you're making that much money base salary. It's your extra pay can make more than the average taxpayer in extra pay. And nobody else could get this. We can't train a DPW guy to sit in a fucking truck to have lights on. Is that we can't train these people to do traffic duty? Out in front of my house, there's 2 women that do traffic duty that hold up signs in front of a school. They cause nothing but traffic every single morning in Brick. And I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying it doesn't seem like a job that you need to be that highly trained for. This can't be lower level, entry level jobs that are working these positions to where we're not spending millions. We're not spending millions on wasteful overtime that you know what happens when you get this. You know what's going on in Lakewood. When I heard that the wife was in charge of doling out the overtime, and the one dude that's making $386K that's apparently that's what's going on. Allegedly. How's that not a conflict of interest? If that is the case, and I would love someone to confirm or deny it, if that is the case, nobody's looked at this. Channel 12 News, where are you in New Jersey? Anywhere in New Jersey, where are you? Shore News Network, all you people, where are you? Oh, you're all afraid because everyone's apparently afraid for my life right now. Let's check the Facebook comments because I had a whole bunch of stuff that I prepared for today, but I went way too long. Let's see if we have any Facebook comments on here. We have a bunch of Facebook comments on here. Good show, Mike Chris McKee. Love you, bro. Love you. This is talking about an old school Brick guy. Love it. Nobody cares until it affects them. Where is Governor Rebecca Mikey Sherrill? Who knows? Hey, listen, Mikey, you want to do something? Let's freeze the salaries for some of these officers. And listen, guys, if you're going to be able to make that much money, you shouldn't have that much of a base. Right? Like you have a super high base, you top out of the high number, and then you have all these other avenues to make incredible amounts of money. It shouldn't be that way. Not when the average taxpayer is getting destroyed. Not when it's always more and more and more and more and more and more. The average New Jersey citizen is paying at least $1,000 more in taxes, at least. Think about it. It went up $500 just for your schools. Toms River, New Jersey, your schools went up a lot. It was like 14.8%. And your school board tried keeping it down. And guess what? The state came in and just said, no, you have to do this now. The state is forcing this stuff on us because they need the money to pay for this stupid shit. Rosa Bueno says, Richard, she'll tax and spend us into oblivion. Hopefully no federal money in sanctuary states will curb her spending appetite starting February 1st. Hopefully. Sorry, Renee says, allegedly. Yes, allegedly. I have to say allegedly. Like there's alleged sexual harassment going on as we speak. Prosecutor's office, you're going to do anything about it or what? Because I know about that. Yeah. I can't talk about that, though. I can't talk about that because I don't want to. I'm not getting ahead of anybody in that type of situation, honestly. Maybe the cops should learn to direct traffic. They might be able to justify the overtime. And that's another point. So when I said I don't think I'll be able to drive in Lakewood ever again in my life, I don't think I'm missing out on anything because driving through Lakewood, you can't. It's everybody cuts you off. Everybody drives like an asshole. Everybody is a problem in that town. That I bring up this town, and I did a whole show on this town because if you don't live in my area of New Jersey, you can't understand just how ridiculous this area actually is. You can't understand it. You can't wrap your minds around it. You can't handle it. You can't drive through the town. Everything's a mess. They claim poverty. They get millions of dollars from the state, yet they have the best private schools and the worst public schools. Everything about that town is pure, unadulterated corruption. And it's religious-based government corruption. And I'm going to toss that out there. And if anybody wants to take a trip with me to Lakewood, New Jersey to see exactly what I'm talking about. And again, I want to clarify one thing. I'm not saying everybody in Lakewood is corrupt, but everybody in Lakewood, you do pay tax dollars. There's 60% of you that do pay taxes. Don't you want a full accounting of the waste that's going on in your town, or do you not give a shit? Because you can't pay for schools, can't pay for your municipals. You just cut back on all of your building, $6 million on your capital improvements, while asking the state for more money from us. And guys, I bring this up because this is one town of how many towns in America, and everyone's focused on Minnesota. Well, it's probably happening in Pittsburgh. It's definitely happening in New York. It's happening in, Toms River, New Jersey, Lakewood, New Jersey, Jackson, New Jersey. Every town in my area has some type of gross negligence going on. And when we're all focused way out there, we don't realize that what's going on here is taking money out of your pocket while they're asking you nonstop for more and more and fucking more. I hope I got to every single one of your comments. I hope, listen, last one, ready? They put black garbage bags over the windows of the schools so you don't know that there's kids in the schools. Yeah, this is an area where they'll take trailers and pack trailers on top of each other and call those schools. You want to really get into it? How about somebody, we should look into all the daycares and all the illegal businesses that are going on in that community. I bet it's rampant. And the craziest part about all this that people don't realize is the people that are ripping you off of your tax dollars are then using your tax dollars against you to put things in your town that you don't want. And they're suing you with your tax dollars. And then you're using your tax dollars to fight them in court. And guess what? Somehow they have more of your fucking tax dollars than you do, so they win. This is the fucking insanity of what is going on. And I'm staring at this, looking at corruption, nonstop, just disgusting corruption. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here. Remember, finger. The hell, it loves it. And don't make it gross. It's just the tip. Just the tip of your finger. Give it a little finger and hit that like button. Finger the hell out of the share button. As soon as we get done, I obviously have it on YouTube. Check me out. Follow me on Center Cut Media on all my platforms. We are growing thanks to you. When I first started this local stuff, everyone said nobody is interested. But it seems like a lot of you guys are interested. So I appreciate it. And listen, I'm not scared for my life. If I should be scared, isn't that a bigger problem for them? If I should be scared, people, for bringing you guys the truth that they give you, I didn't have to shoot somebody for this information. I didn't have to do a backroom deal where I gave like a blowjob to some dude for these papers. This is freedom of information. They gave it to me. If I have to be afraid for just relating their information to you, what does that tell you about them? And what does it tell you that's the immediate thought from everybody? Oh shit, this guy better get protection. You better get your concealed carry. You better get something. What does it say that we're in a society that robs you blind? Steals your tax dollars, uses against you, but if you say anything, you better be worried for your fucking life. Here at the Caltrop, we don't give a shit about that stuff. We're going to tell you the truth regardless. We're going to bring you this stuff regardless. I don't give a shit. I'm not afraid. Come at me. Lakewood PD, I can't wait for you fucking people to be stupid enough to pull me over for some dumb shit. Because I haven't been pulled over by a cop in like 20 years. But watch it happen now. I'm just saying. The Caltrop, this show, and who I am, the Brick Breakdown, is about truth. It's about honesty. It's about asking the questions no one's willing to ask. It's about bringing up the topics that nobody's willing to bring up. It's about talking to groups of people that nobody's willing to talk to. And Chief Meyer of Lakewood PD, if you would like to come to the Caltrop, I have a chair sitting right there, or we could do it in Zoom. If you want to talk and prove me wrong on why you think it's better to give certain people $386,000 tax dollars, I welcome you to sit in this chair. You have an open invite. Check your email because the invite is coming to you. But everyone, that was the Caltrop. And once again, really appreciate everybody for being here, for the interest in this. I really appreciate everybody that's new. Your thoughts are welcome. Your comments are welcome. Everything's welcome. The only thing that's not welcome is you guys running and hiding. Caltrops don't run and hide. Caltrops, we need to have a lot of us. We need to have a lot of defense mechanisms. And Caltrops ask questions. Thank you guys very much for being Caltrops. This Caltrop is out.